Good afternoon. Welcome to today's session for TCS pattern. I'm specifically talking about email writing skills since last 1 or 2 weeks. I'm going to begin with the pattern of the online assessment. So let me explain. So we're going to have the first stage, which is the online assessment. I will explain what the pattern will look like. Once you clear that, you will move to the next segment, which is the personal interview round. In this personal interview round, you will have two segments. One is the HR interview and the second one is the technical interview. So as obvious it is, HR interview, it's going to be with the HR personnel, the folks from HR who are going to ask you specific question about your personality, your communication skills, your body language, your aspiration, why you want to join that company, so on and so forth. So we will talk about that in the later segment. And then you will have a technical round where the questions will be very specific to what you are getting hired for, which is your technical area. Now, in order to reach the interview segment, you need to clear the online assessment. And the online assessment has 4 categories. The first one being the email writing skill, where you need to write an email within 10 minutes. The second one is quantitative aptitude. You will have 20 questions and the permitted time is 40 minutes. Then you have the multiple choice question area, where you need to write the correct answer from the choices given, and these questions will be specific to programming language C. You will have 10 questions and the permitted time is 20 minutes. And then you will have a descriptive type question where it's going to be only one such question where you need to write a program. So the entire coding has to be accurate so that once it's executed, it doesn't lead to any kind of error. Now this year there is also going to be negative marking in the online assessment. For every wrong answer, you will lose 0.33% of the marks which is allotted to that particular question where you go wrong. So if there is a particular question where the allotted marks is 1, and if you answer it incorrectly, you will lose minus 0.33. Now this is applicable only for the quantitative aptitude. Now the point that needs to be noted is, if you go back and check the quantitative aptitude area, which has 2 questions which is star marked. Now what happens in these 2 questions is, if you answer it correctly, you will score double the points. If you answer it incorrectly, you will lose double the points, which means if the allocated point is 1 for those 2 star marked questions, you will score 2 points if you answer it correctly. But if it's incorrect, it will be minus 0.66. So 2 times of positive marking and 2 times of negative marking. So you got to keep in mind that these are the 2 questions, the star mark question and quantitative aptitude, where you can score more, but in case if you go wrong, you can also lose more. So you got to be very, very watchful, specific to these 2 questions. Now the topics that's going to be covered for quantitative aptitude, we have probability, permutation and combination, time and distance, time and work equations, ratios and proportions, allegation or mixture, series and progression. Then you have average, percentage, profit and loss, problems on ages, area, shapes and perimeter, number system, HCF and LCM, and reasoning. Now as far as the email writing is concerned, the question would be something like this. This is something which I have covered in the past. I'm going to do a recap today for those who did not attend the session since last 1 week. The question will resemble something of this sort. As a niece, write an email to your aunt, Mrs. Polly, informing that you will be picking her up from the railway station when she arrives in town for her short vacation. Sign the email as Nancy. So if you look closely, there is a name which is mentioned who should be the receiver, and then there's also a name which explains who should be the sender of the email. So this is the entire scenario of the email that you need to write. The receiver is Mrs. Polly, the sender is Nancy, and you're writing an email to explain or to inform her that you will be picking her up from the railway station. Now every email will include an outline. An outline is nothing but the keywords that has to be included in the email. In this particular scenario, the keywords are happy, receive, crowded, platform arrives at afternoon, unattended, luggage, in front of, wait, early, look forward. The rule says for TCS, you need to write an email about this particular scenario. The receiver and sender's name is mentioned. You need to use these keywords in the email. Now, all the keywords should be used in the same form. For example, happy cannot be used as happiness. Receive cannot be used as received. Crowded cannot be used as crowd. So whatever outline or the keyword is given, you need to use it as it is, and you need to form a sentence using that. You cannot miss even a single keyword. If you miss a single keyword, you will get disqualified, plain and simple. If you change the form of the keyword, the system cannot identify if you have used the keyword or not. You will be deemed as a person who did not use the keyword. You will get disqualified. You will lose points if you make mistakes in terms of sentence formation, punctuation, grammar. So this is how the instruction for the email will be given. It is compulsory to use all the specific words mentioned in the outline in your email. You can add other sentences of your choice as appropriate. The name of the sender and the receiver should be as given. You cannot use your name as a sender unless it's not mentioned there. Sometimes you will have a question where the sender's name is not mentioned. In that case, you can mention your name. The email must contain a minimum of 50 words or it will not be evaluated at all. In this case, it says 50 words. Even if your email is 49 words, the system cannot validate, you will be disqualified. If the outline is not strictly followed, including the specific words used, or correct English, including spelling and grammar, is not used, the grade in this section will be poor. Which means, even if your email structure is fine, you have used all the keywords, you make a lot of grammatical and punctuation mistakes, you will start losing points. So whatever points you have scored by writing the accurate email, you will start losing that every time you make a spelling mistake, punctuation mistake, and grammatical mistake. So you got to be very, very clear about a couple of things. Number one, all the keywords should be used as it is given in the question itself. You cannot change the form to denote a different tense form. For example, buy cannot be used as bought or will be buying. Not allowed. Now the time limit, if you remember, I said it's 10 minutes. Now even if you submit, if you click on the submit button at the 10th minute mark, it may not get validated, it may not get submitted. So don't take a chance. Please submit it even before the 10-minute mark is up. Your email will not take more than 5 to 6 minutes. Within 6 minutes, try to finish the email. Spend the remaining time revising the entire email and make corrections where needed. Okay? I'm going to take you through the do's and don'ts for emails. These are the email do's. You need to keep in mind you follow these. Read the topic carefully. Read and understand the keywords or key phrases mentioned. Use each and every keyword phrases mentioned. Even if you miss one of the keyword or phrases, the email will be invalid. Ensure keywords are used in the same form as mentioned in the topic. For example, buy cannot be used as bought. Keywords should be mentioned in the sequence as mentioned in the topic. Start a new paragraph for change of thought group. New paragraph should start as a fresh line. Okay? Now the next set of do's. Entire email should be left indent. I will explain what that means. Do not leave a gap on the left when you start a new paragraph. I will show an example where people usually go wrong. Use the receiver's name and sender's name as mentioned in the topic. Always begin your mail with greeting. Always end your mail with salutation, thanks and regards and summary. Ensure the email is written within 10 minutes. Click on submit button before the 10-minute time is up. Clicking on the submit button at the 10-minute mark or later will not allow the email to be submitted. And word count of the email should be as per the instruction given in the question. So if the word count is 60, and you have used even 59 words, you will get disqualified. Here are some of the aspects which you need to make sure you do not violate. So these are the don'ts. Do not miss even a single keyword or phrase mentioned in the topic. Do not change the tense or verb form of the given keyword. Do not address the receiver as hi. Do not make any spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes or punctuation mistakes. Do not exceed 10-minute time limit. Do not write the email below the number of words given in the instruction. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, since yesterday I have shown you some examples, I'm going to talk about certain common mistakes we do in terms of punctuation as well as spelling. Okay. Let's begin. So there is a word which is by. I hope this is visible. Let me zoom it a little more. Now there is a word which is by. If I have to look at the past tense, the word is B-O-U-G-H-T, bought. There is another word which is bring, and the past tense is B-R-O-U-G-H-T. Now what happens is, a lot of people make a mistake. They mix B-O-U-G-H-T with B-R-O-U-G-H-T. When they speak, they make this mistake. When they write, they make this mistake. Please bear in mind, if you're using the word brought, it's a past tense of bring. For example, I brought my lunch today. I brought my lunch today basically means I got lunch from home. If you say I bought my lunch today, that means you purchased it. So bought is a synonym of past tense of purchase. All right. Likewise, there are a lot of words where people make mistakes. For example, THERE versus THEIR. Now these two are different words. For example, THERE is a preposition. All right. THEIR that's a possession. For example, keep the book there. If I say THEIR, now I'm going to change this color so that you can identify it's an example. It's their book. Now there is a plural form of a singular person, right? So I can say his, her or their. So please do not get confused between THEIR and THERE. Both are pronounced the same way. There. It's not their. It's there. There. Both are pronounced the same way, but it means two different things. Clear? Okay. Now another area where people make mistake is HERE. Just a moment, let me just, okay. Here, here. HERE, again, preposition. Keep it here, or I can say come here for a moment. Here means the ability to listen, ability to hear. If you have ears, you can hear, right? The sense of hearing. Can you hear me? Now, in case if I make a spelling mistake and say can you hear me, HERE doesn't make sense. If I replace come here for a moment, it's not making any sense at all. So please do not make these amateurish mistakes. These will, it will counted as grammatical mistake as well as spelling mistake, because a spelling mistake is leading to a grammatical mistake. Okay. So when you're writing the email, since I'm using Word document right now, you are able to see that there's an underline. In case if I'm making a spelling mistake, it's a red line. If I'm making a grammatical mistake, it's a green underline. If I'm making a punctuation mistake, it's a blue underline. So Word, Microsoft Word has the ability to identify and tell me that I need to make correction. But in TCS online exam, you will not have any such help. The test is to see how well you know basic spellings. So there will not be any quick tip that's going to tell you that you're making a mistake in terms of a sentence formation or a punctuation or a spelling. You got to be very, very aware of these small little words, very common words, and you cannot be making mistakes there. Okay. Now we started this program more than a week ago. Unfortunately, I haven't come across a single comment in the YouTube section where people are asking me questions pertaining to email writing for TCS. So if you have any questions, please post it on the YouTube channel, the live program. You have a chat window there. Please post your questions. You can also call and ask your questions. There will be a number which will be shown later part of the program today. You can call and ask your questions. If your question is very specific to TCS email writing pattern, any help needed for email writing, feel free to ask these questions. All right. So let's continue. As far as the spellings are concerned, there is a word which is confirm and another word which is conform. Now both are pronounced pretty much the same way. Now confirm is basically verb form of confirmation. So FIRM, it's a verb form of confirmation, right? Like please confirm. So let me show an example. Please confirm if you are watching this program. Okay. Now what do we mean by confirm? FORM. Now that means verb form of complying to a rule. For example, we have compliance. So we need to confirm with the compliance rules. For example, please confirm with the guidelines. So there are certain rules and guidelines which is mentioned. So you need to confirm. Now here it says I made a grammatical error. Please confirm to the guidelines. You see I made a grammatical mistake and it immediately showed me that I made a mistake. Okay. Please confirm to the guidelines, which means please follow the guidelines. So likewise, there are various words where people make mistakes. I'm going to show you one more example now. Advice and advise. It's a noun. Synonym of suggestion. Okay. Now advise is a verb. Okay. Now let me show an example. What do I mean by this? For example, I can say please give me an advice. Now this is a noun, so I can say please give me an advice. Now if it's a verb, the same advice I can use it as a verb, and I got to say it differently. Please advise me. Please give me an advice or please advise me. Now in this particular case, if I replace the CE with SE, if I interchange, if I swap it, then it will lead to a grammatical error. So you got to be sure you're using CE when it's a noun form. You use SE when it's a verb form. You can't say please advise me, it should be advise me. So if I say please advise me, this is wrong. It should be advise me. Please give me an advice. Can I say please give me an advice? No. I need to use CE. Okay. So that's why these spellings can lead to grammatical errors as well. So you got to be very sure you're not making these silly mistakes in terms of spellings that can also lead to grammatical error. If you make these mistakes, you will lose double the points because one, it's not making sense and it's not fitting in the context of the particular sentence. So please be very prudent, please be very careful that you're not making these mistakes. All right. Now let's look at the question again. I'm going to write this email once again for you. It was done in the past, we are doing it again. So I'm going to copy these keywords. As a niece, write an email to your aunt, Mrs. Polly, informing her that you will be picking her up from the railway station when she arrives in town for her short vacation. Sign the email as Nancy. So please make a note of this. I'm going to pause here for a minute. You can make a note of this question and the outline, and then I will write this email. All right, let's go. Oops, just a moment. I'm going to change the alignment so that you can see it clearly. Okay, here we go. These are the keywords that we are supposed to use in this email. So let's start. Hello, Mrs. Polly. Now that is what the receiver's name is, right? Now let me zoom this a little bit. Now in a usual scenario we will say, okay, hello Mrs. Polly is fine, but here the question says write an email to your aunt. So I will replace the Mrs. with aunt. Hello Aunt Polly. Now if you see, A is capital because that's a title, P is capital because that's a name. Every name should start with a capital letter. The first word in a sentence should start with a capital letter. I will use a comma and then say enter to go to the next line, but this comma is not needed because that's redundant. It's of no use, so you don't have to use it anymore. I know this is how we were taught in school, but it's not needed. Hello Aunt Polly. I am very I'm writing in very simple English so that you can follow. I'm very happy to know that you are coming to stay with me for your vacation. I would come to the station to receive you. As the station is usually crowded, I would request you to wait for me. Okay? The platform is closer to the exit. So I'm just giving detail of the train. The train arrives at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Please do not leave your luggage unattended. I shall wait for you. Just a moment. If I reach early. I look forward to meet you. Regards, Nancy. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change the paragraph here. I hope this is visible. Okay. Now, let me count the number of words. It's 85. The rule says 50, but I've used 85 words. Let me see if I have used all the keywords or not. Happy, receive, yes, I have used the word receive. Crowded, platform, arrives at, afternoon, unattended, luggage, in front of, wait, early, look forward. Okay, so I've used all the keywords. Let me read this out to you. Hello, Aunt Polly. I'm very happy to know that you're coming to stay with me for your vacation. I would come to the station to receive you. As the station is usually crowded, I would request you to wait for me. The platform is closer to the exit. The train arrives at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Please do not leave your luggage unattended. I shall wait for you in front of the bookstall. Now, bookstall is one word. I made a mistake there. In front of the bookstall if I reach early. I look forward to meet you. Regards, Nancy. Very simple. Now, if you notice, the entire email is left indent. The mistakes where people do is they leave a gap like this every time they start a new paragraph. You see this? Let me remove the background shade so that you can see it clearly. So this is how people write. They leave a gap. This is not needed. It makes no sense. You don't have to write like this anymore. Okay? So don't leave this gap. This is not needed. It's redundant. If you look closely, every time I'm starting a new paragraph, it starts with a capital letter. Every time I'm using a full stop, the next word starts with a capital letter. These are basic common English. If you make mistakes on these areas in terms of punctuation, spellings, you will lose marks. So I have written this mail within 10 minutes. I have also used more than 50 words, which is the guideline, and I've also used all the keywords which was mentioned in the particular question. Now this email is perfect. I can click on the submit button in the tool and it should be validated. So mistakes that you will end up doing is in terms of spelling, like I explained, some examples, grammatical mistakes and punctuation mistake. Punctuation, for example, this 2 o'clock, I used one apostrophe, single quote. Okay. Every time I end a sentence, I end it with Alright, so please write this email and provide the answer in the comment section of YouTube video. I will take a look at it. I'll also announce the name of the person who writes the most accurate email. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more email sample for TCS. Have a great day.